Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Live right now. Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready to go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the Lesbian Detectives.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here talking about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast. Before we start this case, before you hear the intro and my vacation trip, I have to tell you about this case. I have to give you a chance if you want to listen to it or if you don't. This victim had a lot of things going against her. First of all, there's no picture of her. I can't post it and say, hey, this is how she looked, because there's nothing. I can't tell you if she has blonde hair or blue eyes or brown hair or brown eyes, because there's no picture. I look high and low and everywhere, and I even asked my friend that is a journalist and work in the true crime field, can he help me? And he still didn't come up with a picture. We're still searching because we want to put a name to the face. But when this episode's released, we didn't find one. And also, her name is spelled wrong on many articles. Her name is Greta Rainey, but most people spell it Greta, which is the correct way. But somebody did an article on her and it went downhill. They spelled her name Gretta, which is incorrect. So there's so many things going against her right now. No picture, name spelled wrong. So when I look up her name, when I did the research, it wasn't a lie. But her case needs to be told. Her story needs to be out there. So if you don't want to listen to it because you're like, oh, I need a picture, or I don't know if the fact's going to be right. Trust me, the fact's going to be right because I did the research. Please listen to her case. I'm just giving you a warning because I know some people are very particular on their true crime episode. But this one right here, her story needs to be told. We need to get her correct name and spelling out there, and we need to find a picture of her. Now, let's get into the episode. Guys, welcome back. We took a needed vacation. It was gone for like, a week and a half? 1 week and a half? Yeah. We went on a Disney cruise for our daughter. Like, it was a family vacation. We planned it for her birthday, but it wasn't just flowing in. So we did a week ago. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you something, guys. I have not got back on track yet. Like, work has been a nightmare. And I was off for like a week. So, like, you think your body would be like, okay, back on track? No. I have not. Like, my sleeping pattern, because on a cruise, it was crazy. I got up around 7:30, but we didn't go to bed till like midnight or 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. And my body is still on that track. And I'm like, girl, I can't do that. For some reason, on a cruise, I can get up early, stay late. But now I'm like, I can't do it. I can't. Because I feel like with the cruise, it was something decided to do. I just got to work. Guys, just gotta work. It was hard.
We loved that room service. Mm-hmm. Loved eating anytime, every time of the day. Not having to really do anything. I really enjoyed the shows. Mm-hmm. We want to do one next year. Which one?
We're doing it's a
Castaway or
we're going to a private island, Castaway, but we're doing it around our daughter's birthday, and we actually flying out this time because this time we just drove like 4 hours away. Mm-hmm. This time we actually gonna get on a plane and fly to Florida. So my daughter has never been on a plane, so like it's be excited to take her on a flight.
Yeah.
But I love that we saw all the princesses. We saw every character they had. The only person we didn't see was Spider-Man. Both my daughter and my wife was just disappointed because the first time I was in line for see Spider-Man, that line was long. Like it wrapped around again, and then I was still in line. I'm like, I had my Kindle, I had some music playing, I had everything. I was okay sitting in line waiting because I knew people was gonna get out. My wife was like, nah, I ain't with it. Like, just get out. They had him again, but we had the Royal Gathering around that time. With the Royal Gathering, you have to book it. Like, you can't just be late. You got to be there on time. So I told my wife, hey, I sent my daughter to see the princesses and you go see Spider-Man. She's like, no, I want to see the princesses too. And time we got done, they cut off the line for Spider-Man. Both my daughter and my wife was mad. My daughter was like, no, Spider-Man. I'm like, no, we too late. Sorry. You wanted to see the princesses.
Well, you developed a crush for Tiana.
I didn't develop a crush for her. Tiana was my favorite princess in all times. Tiana, Ariel, and Belle. That was my top. I didn't develop a crush. Guys, it's like when you see your favorite character as a kid and you see him in real life. I'm explaining it right. But I loved her. I told her, you're my favorite princess. And she like, no, you're my favorite princess. I'm like, ah. But if you want to see our pictures, it's on my TikTok, my personal TikTok. Not our podcast TikTok. I have so many pictures. It was just ridiculous. Let's get into this episode. Enough talking about our vacation. We missed it, but we got to get on with the case because you do not want to hear about vacation. Now let's get into the episode. Imagine walking to your home, a place that should feel safe, and never walking out again. The door closed behind you. The walls that once held comfort now become witnesses to something unthinkable. A life full of love, laughter, and the quiet rhythm of daily living, snatched away in a single violent moment. For decades, the case set cold. The evidence collected at the time and gathered went largely untested. Questions linger unanswered. Families grieve. Friends whispered about what could have been, and the world moved on, living behind a story that refused to stay buried. But some stories have a way of resurfacing. Decades later, modern technology shine a light into the shadows. DNA evidence, once dormant, finally connected one unsolved murder to another one, revealing a pattern that is chilling, intimate, and terrifying. Someone familiar with the building, someone who knew the women, someone who walked among them unnoticed. Was this crime committed because of who she loved? Was it simply a predator in the wrong place at the wrong time? Or was there something more deliberate, more sinister? And why did it take so long for the truth, hidden in the evidence all along, to finally be uncovered? This is a story of love, identity, and loss. A story of lives stolen, families shaken, and mystery that refused to die. This is the case of Greta Rainey. Before we talk about how she died, we have to talk about who Greta Denise Rainey was, and the strange fact that there is very little public documentation about her early life and childhood, family. The absent reflect how LGBTQ victims often erased. What we do know is that Greta, at 35, lived authentically in D.C. in a relationship with Roxanne Johnson, 32. Friends remember her as warm, lively, and deeply connected to her community. She loved, laughed, and created bonds that last beyond her death. Being openly lesbian in 1980s Washington, D.C. was not without risk. LGBTQ plus individuals face discrimination, social bias, and sometimes violence. Yet Greta and Roxanne navigated their relationship with courage and pride. They were part of a community that, while small, was tightly knit and supportive. May 13, 1987, Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C. The spring air was warm, the streets quiet, and the neighborhood, usually calm, held on an ordinary rhythm. But inside apartment 610 at 3rd Street Southeast, that calm was about to be shattered. Greta Denise Rainey, 35, was gone, violently taken from the life she knew. Roxanne Johnson, her partner, had left for work that morning, expecting to return to the familiar comfort of her home. Hours later, when Greta didn't answer the phone, a knot of worry began to form. Something was wrong. Roxanne called again. Still nothing. She rushed back to the apartment, her heart racing. She wasn't alone. A coworker joined her as she approached the door. The building eerie silent. When they entered, what they saw would haunt Roxanne forever. Greta's body strangled, lifeless and naked, in the space they had shared. The apartment was undisturbed. No sign of struggle, no indication of forced entry. Only the chilling reality that someone had entered, committed an unspeakable act, and left as quietly as they came. In that moment, Roxanne's world crumbled. Just 2 days after Greta's body was found, Roxanne Johnson's life was turned upside down. Police arrived at her door, not just to investigate, but to arrest her for the murder of the woman she loved. Imagine the shock, the grief of losing Greta and then being accused of unaliving her. Roxanne was charged with second-degree murder, a legal nightmare she hadn't seen coming. She insists she had nothing to do with Greta's death. She told friends, family, and later reporters, "I didn't do it." But in the eyes of the law and the public imagination, she became a suspect. Her life, her home, her relationship, her sense of safety was shattered almost overnight. The impact was immediate. Roxanne was forced to move out of the apartment she shared with Greta. The landlord, fearing complaints from other tenants, pressured her to leave. Friends described her as lost and isolated, hunted, not just for the loss of her partner, but by the heavy weight of the police. For 4 long months, Roxanne lived under suspicion. Every knock at the door, every glance from a neighbor was a reminder of a crime she had no part in. And then suddenly, the charges were dropped without explanation. Justice had cleared her legally, but the emotion scar, the stigma, and the displacement, the heartbreak remained. Roxanne had survived the law's scrutiny, but at devastating personal cost. And while Roxanne was struggling to rebuild her life, the larger question remained unanswered. Who had truly killed Greta? Who had entered the apartment, executed a crime so cold and precise, and disappeared without a trace? For the residents of 610 3rd Street Southeast, the fear lingered, and for Roxanne, the nightmare was only just beginning.
Long before Greta Rainey's murder shook Capitol Hill, another woman's life had ended under eerily similar circumstances, just 18 months earlier in an apartment next door. Florence Eyssalenne, 23, a bright Harvard graduate and paralegal at a law firm, Spiegel and McDermott, had been found partly clothed, her throat slashed on October the 27th, 1985. Her death had already sent ripples of fear through the building. Florence was the third paralegal from the firm to be killed within a 4-year span. Yet, at another time, police saw each case as separate, unconnected, leaving her family with unanswered questions and a community on edge. The building's residents, already unnerved, now lived with a shadow of fear. The outside door was always locked, their neighborhood usually quiet, yet here were 2 women brutally murdered on the same floor in the same apartment building. Friends described Florence as ambitious, bright and full of life, a young woman whose future was stolen in an instant, and then 18 months later, Greta was killed. The parallels were impossible to ignore. No signs of forced entry, sexual assault, proximity in the building, and violent strangulation or slashing. It was as though the killer had returned to the scene of opportunity, targeting women who lived close, who were alone, vulnerable, yet visible to the world. For decades, the connection between Florence and Greta remained unknown to the public. Their lives, their deaths, and their families' grief existed in isolation until advances in DNA testing finally linked the two murders. Now the pattern is undeniable, and a chilling question emerges. Who was the man who could walk into the lives of these women and leave without a trace? Someone familiar with the building, the neighborhood. Someone who had planned these acts with terrifying precision. Florence's brother, Bernard Eyssalenne, never gave up hope. For years, he stayed in touch with investigators, holding on to the belief that justice would come, that the person who took his sister would one day be identified. And now, decades later, DNA technology has provided a breakthrough, offering a glimmer of hope to the families who have lived too long with unanswered questions. For decades, the murders of Greta Rainey and Florence Eyssalenne sat in the shadows of history. Investigators had clues, swabs from rape kits, forensic evidence, but DNA testing in the 1980s was limited, and the cases remained cold. Families waited, neighbors whispered, and the killer stayed invisible, a ghost in the building where two young women had lost their lives. Then, recent advances in forensic science changed everything. Using modern DNA technology, DC police were finally able to create a full DNA profile from tissue samples taken at Greta's 1987 murder scene. As the results were chilling, the DNA matched the sample collected from Florence's 1985 murder. Two women, 2 years apart, same apartment building, same floor, same brutal attack, linked by the invisible hand of a single killer. Detectives now knew a few things about the perpetrator. He is male, believed to be of African American descent, and likely familiar with the building and the neighborhood. But his identity remains unknown. The DNA breakthrough has opened doors, but the case is still very much active. Investigators are using every tool available, including genealogy databases, home DNA kits, and old fashioned legwork, hoping someone, somewhere, will recognize the pattern and come forward with a lead. Roxanne Johnson, Greta's partner, lived quietly, far from the building where she once shared a home with the woman she loved. Bernard Eyssalenne, Florence's brother, has finally found a sliver of relief that the two murders are now connected. But the man who stole these women's lives still walks free. The Metropolitan Police Department is offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to a conviction. The call to action is clear. If you have any information, no matter how small it seems, it could finally bring justice to Greta and Florence, two women whose lives were stolen, whose stories were nearly lost, and whose memories demand to be honored. These murders are more than unsolved crimes. They are a reminder of lives lived authentically, of love and ambition cut short, and of the persistence of families and communities seeking justice. Greta and Florence deserve more than to be statistics. They deserve to be remembered, to have their killer brought to account, and for the world to never forget the women they were. Before we end this case, let's remember the young lady that lost her life, Greta Rainey. Greta Rainey was more than the tragedy that ended her life. She was a woman who lived with courage, authenticity, and love. She cherished her home, shared her life with Roxanne, and touched the lives around her with her laughter and kindness. Friends remembered her as vibrant, caring, and full of quiet strength, someone who brought light into every room she entered. Her life reminds us that every person taken too soon leaves behind more than grief. They leave stories, memories, and moments that continue to shape the people who love them. Greta's spirit endures in those who knew her, in the quiet moments of joy she shared, and in the community that remembers her, as she truly was. To speak Greta's name is to honor her, to acknowledge that her life mattered beyond the headlines, beyond the investigation, beyond the tragedy. She was more than a victim. She was a daughter, a partner, a friend, and a woman who deserved a full life, one that the world is still remembering. Greta Rainey deserves to be remembered for who she was. Her story is a reminder to cherish the lives around us, to hold loved ones close, and to never forget the light she brought into the world. This is the case of Greta Rainey. Now let's get into some theories.
Theories.
Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Lesbian detectives. What type of thoughts you thinking? What theories running through your mind? I'm thinking all types of suspicion. Uncover the truth, what we can find. Witness say they saw somebody creeping out the back door. What you think they did it for? That's so crazy, I'm not sure. They found a car, where could she be? Here go another puzzle piece. Researching through your history. It's plenty unsolved mysteries. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories, yeah. Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Lesbian detectives.
You or me?
Go ahead.
So, what made me mad about this case is they blame the girlfriend. And I'm like, you lost so much time blaming her. And then it's crazy because it was an unaliving / rape in the same building on the same floor. I'm like, police, we didn't try to connect those pieces. I understand that Florence case, like 4 people from her law firm was unalive. I can see them like, okay, that might be involved in that. But then Greta got unalive the same freaking way. So it's like, put the pieces together. So her girlfriend was accused for 4 freaking months. She couldn't even grieve the loss. She's like, oh my God, are they going to put me in jail because of who I love? They automatically assume, but I'm sorry, but Greta was raped. It was DNA on her. So I'm trying to figure out how the fuck that we think it was the girlfriend. How did she get sperm? I'm just asking for the people in the back of the room. It just didn't flow. And then they finally figured out like, oh, these cases are connected. It took you how many decades to figure that part out? Right. And then you finally got the DNA like, oh, it's African male. And that's all you got. I mean, it had to be an ancestry test that somebody in his family have done. They said they're looking for it, but I feel like it should be connected. Like if you got the great niece, come on now. I just feel like they felt this case from the beginning. Because to me, if I was a police officer and I see that Florence got unalive, right? She was 18 months before Greta. And then I see Greta get unalive similar ways, same apartment, same floor. That's too much pieces. I'm stuttering because I'm like, how y'all didn't figure this part out? It took out how many years to figure that part out? It's just, I don't know. I'm just flabbergasted with this case. Like when I saw this case, I was like, really? Like I understand like not seeing Florence connected yet, but when Greta got on the life, then you should have connected. And to me, I think it was somebody that works in that building. Only reason I say that for because Florence, she already seen people get on the life in her law firm. So she know like she has to be like on guard. For her to open up the door for somebody because she had to open the door or somebody had to like get in with a key. I feel like somebody in that apartment probably knocked and the women knew them. And I feel like probably somebody who worked in maintenance or somebody who worked at the front desk or somebody in that because they said the door was locked. It's so much, like it's so many pieces that you have to look at the people who work there. Was it an African male working there around this age? Did the women trust him? I feel like it's time for them to go talk to Roxanne. I don't know if Roxanne is still alive or not, but it's time to go talk to her because she could help them solve the case. Because they could be like, hey, who would Greta open the door for? Was it an African? Like, she can figure out because she want this man to be caught because she lost so much. She didn't just lose the woman that she loved. She lost her life because everybody blamed her. Everybody said that she was like depressed. She was isolated. She was going through so much. She couldn't even grieve really. She was grieving and also fighting for her life.
Yeah.
And that's the effed up part about it. And then they're like, okay, you cleared.
That was a long ass fucking rant.
I'm just mad because it's just like, I don't know, the police just, sometimes you're like, damn, they stupid.
And it's still going.
Okay, let me stop my rant. Wife, continue.
I don't know. I need more information. I don't like not having enough information. and you keep doing this to me. Greta's girlfriend left and came back. When she came back, she found Greta raped, strangled, and unalived. But what's crazy is that Florence also went through the same thing. She lived in that same complex. And then Florence's law firm, they had 4 people that were unalived. So I don't know. I wish we did have more information. Obviously, to me, it seems like a serial killer,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't have any more information of Florence's colleagues that were unalived and how they were unalived, male, female, if they were raped or sexually assaulted. But I don't like this. I need to have more information because it could be anybody. All I know is the serial killer who likes to sexually assault them and then unalive them.
And I wonder, you brought up serial killer. I wonder if they have the DNA. Did they run against other unsolved unaliving in that time period? Because let's be honest, he didn't stop. He got away with 2 unaliving. Do you really think he stopped? No. He didn't stop, and he couldn't be in jail because they would have his they would matched it by now to somebody who's in jail. So to me, he didn't stop. I feel like he probably worked at that complex, probably got fired or went to a different one. Unalived women there. So I want the police to really sit down like, hey, let's see, they have the DNA. So let's run the DNA against other victims that's out there. And let's be honest, I don't really think that Florence was his first victim because it was too clean. Because your first victim, as the police say, you gonna make the most mistakes. And it seemed like he probably gonna make the most mistake at that first one. So we have to find that first victim that he unalive, or even she probably still alive. We don't even know. What if somebody actually survived? Because sometimes serial killers, they always have that one victim that survived everything. So I feel like the police should do the research, look at unalivings that happened around, let's say 1980s to 1990s. Let's just do that. That's a good time period. That's and also talk to Roxanne. I don't know if she's alive or not. I really couldn't find any information about her. And I understand her keeping her distance from this case because what the police took her through. But I feel like she could help the police solve this case because she lived in that building. She know the ins and outs. She could have really helped them if they just sat down and talked to her. They just said it was her probably because she's in a relationship with this girl and she's also a lesbian. Let's be honest. It wasn't nice back then in the 1980s for lesbians or anybody part of the LGBTQ community. So police, give you some advice. Look into cases that's similar to Greta and Florence around that time period. Let's do apartments. And run that DNA against every open case, because they did it with Greta. And they did it against Greta and Florence. They're like, oh, okay, that's open. It's some more out there because I don't think he stopped. Or he probably got smart and wrapped it up. So that could be another thing. Yeah. But I don't think Florence was his first victim. It was just too clean. Hers was too clean. And Greta was clean too. So please do your job. Talk to Roxanne. Hopefully she's still alive. Guys, this is our case. Please, if anybody know any information or you have anything on this case, please email me. Because you guys have been emailing me about cases that you know information about and I didn't even know about. And I told you to go to the police and we talk about it a little bit. But this is Lesbian Detectives. We are on all podcast platforms. Give us that 5-star rating. We are also on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe. Do all the shebang to get our name out there and get all our cases out there. This is Lesbian Detectives. Don't forget, everybody's a suspect.
So proven innocent.
Bye. See you for Christmas.
Lesbian Detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Live right now. Lesbian Detectives. Lesbian Detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready to go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the Lesbian Detectives.